And now we've got our Nezhmetdinov versus Chernikov, Queen Sacrifice from 1962. All right, so he has white. We'll look at how white wins. So e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, pawn takes, knight takes, g6, accelerated dragon, knight c3, bishop g7, bishop e3, knight f6, bishop c4, castles, bishop e3. Actually, there's a trap. I think it starts with knight. Is that here where it's no, it's there's this knight a5 thing. Yeah, I think it's here. If it goes knight a5, there's the bishop takes f7 stuff. I think that's there. And that's how um Fischer beat Reshevsky one time. So tucks the bishop back. Knight g4 hits the bishop on g4, typical accelerated dragon stuff, where you take the knight and then you remove the queen's defensive d4. So you take g4, he takes d4. Nothing too exciting. There's nothing. What else can you do? You can grab c6, but no gain there. So he just takes. And then he moves the queen away to h4, okay, trying to create a kingside attack. Queen a5, and just castles. Wants to kick that queen away with bishop f6. And I mean, he probably should have just gone like d6. Maybe he had something like queen h5 in mind, which probably white's fine with. Well, he could take e7, or he could just trade the queen and mess up black's pawn structure and have a good game. But yeah, black does this, which is maybe a mistake, allows white to do something pretty cool. So what do you think it is here? Knowing the theme of the game, what do you think white does? I'll pause this one. Okay, Matt, so what are you seeing there?
Well, it looks like queen takes the bishop on um, f6. So then you have e takes f, followed by knight to d5. And then I'm assuming you continue with getting the knight to e7, which would give you a check.
Well, we're gonna need a little more than that, but that's a good theme because you want to get that, but we're gonna need one more ingredient. Well, first of all, when you take f6 and he takes back, we don't just have to give the queen up for the bishop. Sack the queen, that's 6 points down. What else can we do though? Yes,
Oh,
yes,
you get the
absolutely. You want
you
knight d5
the
at first.
knight's hanging
Yeah, you just
on
go bishop takes,
on
right? So
d4, so you get then you get the
yeah, but the idea he coughs the knight up, but the idea is that you're going to get the knight one way or the other. We're just going to take it. So he's trying to displace your knight. But yeah, the point is, you're going to take back on d4, and then your plan of coming in with the knight is going to be even more effective. It's going to have more impact with the bishop on
right.
d4, and that's when there would be the 97 mate if that opens up. If the diagonal opens up and you're hitting g7, h8. So yeah, it's a sack of a queen for two minor pieces. So basically, it's a 3 point sack, I guess. In terms of material value, it's like you're sacking a piece, right? Okay, so you take the bishop, and again, if they take back immediately, you take. So he's like, well, I don't want you to play knight d5 now, so I'm gonna check, make your knight go back, waste a move, right? You come back anyway. It's like, okay, well, nothing much has changed. I just have to spend one more move, and then I'm going into d5, and that's gonna be pretty strong. So it's more of a probably more of an intuitive sacrifice. There's not a straight up win here. I doubt it, but black has some resources, but not too many. I mean, if the queen starts being used as the defender, she's going to get kicked around by those minor pieces and the pawns and the rooks coming in, right? The rook lift, as you were mentioning. The bishop's not out yet, and therefore the rook's not out yet. Bishop's being blocked by pawns, so it's going to take a while for black to even develop. If black does develop the bishop to b7, then d7 falls probably by a rook. Rook invades. If d6 is played, well, then you still probably take d6, right? Maybe knight goes to b5 and comes in, or rook takes, or bishop takes. You could rook takes double. You got f4, f5, e5. You got h4, h5 potential. Rook cliffs. So there's way too much compensation, right? The kind of thing where you don't need to calculate everything. You just sense it. And yeah, Nezhmetdinov, I think it's Agadmator, right? The YouTuber from Croatia, he likes to cover this guy a lot. So I don't know if he's probably shown this game before. But yeah, it's a great one. Really creative player. So yeah, that's knight d5 comes in. Don't want to go rook takes e4 because you got the fork coming. So he guards it with the rook, which is super awkward. You can already see the awkwardness there. And if he were to go king up, well, then probably bishop d4, and he's very uncomfortable on the diagonal. So he's like, may as well just go rook up. Now you're walking into the line of the bishop. Okay, bishop d4. Well, there might be some scenarios where he gives the rook back for the bishop, and then we end up with a rook and a knight for a queen, as opposed to a knight and a bishop for a queen, right? Knight bishop or knight rook. So maybe he's willing to give it back, undouble his pawns or something. But for now, yeah, he's holding f6. Okay, hits it again. King does come up. There's that d file like Kasparov used, right? Just use that d file very actively. And then d6. We got the weak d pawn, but the bishop at least is open. Now we have our rook lift that you talked about, Matt. Bishop d7 and overwhelming f6. That's got to collapse. 3 attackers, 2 defenders max. Actually, he does have queen d8, but he doesn't go for it. He just goes bishop b5. Okay, it's the rook on f1 and counters the queen. Bishop c3. Nice bishops there. Nice long range power. Queen does tuck back, so we got 3 attackers, 3 defenders. We could take if we want, and we do. Knight takes f6. So he's like strangely moving into e2 to fork our rooks rather than taking f1 because he wants to remove our f3 rook, which is way more valuable currently than the f1 rook. And then, okay, knight takes h7, check, bishop, discovered check, right?
Yeah.
He's sacking that. That's an instant loss. Well, wait, what is going on there? Let's see. It's a little bit of defense. So if he goes king takes h7, no, it's not. It's not rook h3 though. Probably not because bishop h5. There's something more direct. So what's the more direct move after king takes h7? Which he didn't do, but assuming as a sideline, you have to prove that it would work, or you'd have to refute king takes h7. How
I'm
would you
guessing he
refute that?
takes f7.
Mm-hmm.
Rook takes f7
And then,
for check.
and then what happens after the check?
Uh, well, you win the other rook.
Yeah, you win the rook while guarding your rook, and then we're going to achieve one of those scenarios. In this case, it's rook bishop against queen. So we would can't. Okay, so hypothetically, this is a sideline. Oh, that's just bad. And we keep attacking them too. But we would scoop up material. We're getting an exchange out of that, which again is going to give us maybe other things could happen. Assuming we just take back, that's going to give us rook bishop against queen. So, oh, he could take the rook. Funny enough, he could keep it at bishop bishop against queen. There might be something else here as well, but the attack is pretty bad. Is there anything else here? King h6, assuming this. He doesn't want to walk into the bishop on e6. There might be something else as well other than taking e6. Bishop d2 check. I don't know. I think there's anything immediate. But you keep the same, it's the same idea with the, now instead of a bishop knight, it's bishop bishop against queen. When we take back 3, 6, 7, we've picked up pawns, we've destroyed his king position. We might have looks like we can keep attacking him. Yeah. We have bishop checks coming and pawns are coming. You might not even need to take the bishop. I don't know. But the point is that also tons of compensation, overwhelming attack. So he doesn't take it. Goes king g8, moves away from the bishop's check from c3. And then he just comes over and says, okay, I don't care about my f1 rook. That guy's not out. I've already spent time lifting my f3 rook. So we go d3, f3. Now we go continue on to h3. And now you're seeing some pretty nasty checkmate ideas, just a pattern of rook h8 mate. So naturally he blocks, and naturally we want to break that blockade of the diagonal. It's clogging up the diagonal. So trying to destroy that blockade. Okay, bishop takes, just take back. And just look at that beautiful position. Everything is perfectly placed, right? The knight wants to move, but, he's in there, creating some havoc in there. We got 2 bishops aiming, pitting the f pawn. Rook's ready to come in. Could even go knight g5 and it's done. So rook c8. He's like, I want to keep that bishop. I'm not letting you sack the exchange. I'm keeping that guy. I don't think there's any way to remove him now. Can't go rook takes c4 because knight f6 check is done. Okay, he goes b5. I'm not sure what that achieves. Pretty much lost. Maybe like rook c4 or something. Yeah, trying to clog it up. And then he just tucks the knight back. Can't take with the rook. Rook h8's mate. So then we have rook c7. Bishop takes f7 check. Nice one. So rook takes, and there's one more tactic. Now, if he were to go king f8, well, then we have rook h7, rook h8. check, and pick up the queen. If he goes to G7, multiple things we could do. We can toss in rook H7 check and then go rook H8, or he goes to F6. He's walking into, yeah, it's too much. Lots of bad lines for him. So he decides to take with the rook. Okay, one more combo. Do you see what the combo is? To just not to mate, but to scoop up some material, gain a decisive material advantage, and then he gives up. You see what you can do?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, Matt, what are you seeing?
Well, rook to h8 check. King takes h8, followed by knight takes the rook on f7, which is forking the king and the queen.
And looks at the
And the
E5
rook.
rook, which you don't care about, but yeah. So we have our nice check. If he goes up, well, we'll just take the king G7. We'll just take the queen and, or yeah, that should be fine. Well, that's interesting, actually. Yeah, we still have our rook. We're picking up another rook. Yeah, we're going to have at least an extra piece at the end of that. Okay, so king takes, knight takes F7 check. We fork them all. King up, take on D8. Rook takes E4, knight C6. He still plays a little bit. Rook takes F4 check, king E2, and then he resigns. Well, some people might try and play on, but it's okay. He's up 2 points. It's really against a strong player. It is pretty hopeless. He does throw in the towel, but it's pretty hopeless here. So we got nice pawns here against a junkyard of pawns, all split up. Well, except for those two. But these guys are all over the place. The rook can't really do anything. If he goes check, he simply move. Nothing's going on. And certainly he's going to pick up more pawns, actually, because he's going to have two attackers against only the rook that could be a defender on the A pawn, for example. Picks up the A pawn, then you pick up the B pawn. Okay, now we're soon enough. We're going to have 2-3 connected pass pawns rushing down and two pieces to support. Sure, they're weaker pieces, but we got two. And usually you put that in stockfish with two pieces against a rook, and stockfish will be like it's +5. Huge advantage. Yeah, it's nothing that what black can do. So he threw in the towel. Nice. Nice job by Nezhmetdinov.